Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back. Today we're just gonna play around in the desert, have some fun. Just kind of a Friday evening stream, just kind of mess around. So, did find some really cool mods last couple days. A couple of them I've had before. I just re-downloaded them and they've been updated. And then one of them I had a long time ago, but I haven't downloaded it for years, and it's been updated and it's really good. So the two that I've had before a while back were the D200 and the Hopper Reimagined from Tom at Rough Country Crawling on his Patreon. And then this beautiful OBS Ford is from Roro Customs on his Patreon. It's a really nice truck. It's got the old school bumper on it, some really nice wheels. I believe those are Toyo. Yep, those are Toyo Open Country MTs. And I believe that's a KMC wheel that's on there. Not sure what wheel, but it's a really nice setup. Yeah, just gonna go have some fun in the desert. Probably start out short course and just make our way around the entire loop for the high desert racetrack. This truck sounds so good. Nothing a good old 7.3 can't handle. This is a really cool setup. I really like this truck. That's a nice truck. That right there is my dream truck. Or a crew cab. Yeah, I think it's a crew cab, but a crew cab long bed, 95 OBS with a 7.3. That is like, that's the dream truck, 100%. Let's zoom in a little bit. We got that fancy trailer. That's a sweet Jeep. That's a badass truck. Always like the rough, like patina kind of look to it. It's just like an old farm truck that got turned into a pre-runner. I like how long it takes to start too. See how long we can go in the desert before we wad this thing up. that was gonna happen. I always forget about that nasty dip. Forget about that one too. That was fun, besides hitting the 2 massive dips and destroying it twice. But it was worth it. Now we're going to do the same desert section, but now we're going to add in some really big rocks. So now it's going to get a lot more hectic. How about we get that true Ultra 4 experience? crazy. You go from going crazy fast in the desert to rock crawling and then going crazy fast in the desert again. First uphill turn that I took was the right one. Trying to remember everything from when we did the Shannon Campbell versus Gabe Bent chassis. So just trying to kind of remember that course because this is in single player, so obviously the course flags don't spawn in single player, so I just kind of have to memorize it. racing, so I'm just gonna put it right there. And we're gonna do a backflip. sunny. Not doing that section. That section's ridiculous. I had a hell of a time in that section with the Shannon Camel car, and it was like actually starting to piss me off. I'm not sure. I don't think it's the way we went, but I'm just gonna go this way regardless. Yeah, the Jeep always sounds really good. Love driving it. But it's definitely not, it's not the greatest thing to drive in an Ultra 4 aspect. You definitely have to drive it like a 4800 car. You can't drive it flat out like a 4400 Unlimited. It's just not built for that. But either way, it runs great. But then we got this amazing OBS. I love this truck. What's the difference? So 4800 runs single coilover shocks and 37-inch tires. 4400 runs, like this one has, runs single coilover shocks with bypass shocks and 40-inch tires and bigger. You can run, once you get to a 44 Unlimited, you can run whatever tire you want, as long as it's a 40 or bigger. But that's the only difference, is the suspension setups. Obviously, drivetrain setup and frame design. 4800's got a straight frame in it. Yeah, I think they have tube chassis as well. And then 4400 is full tube chassis and just full suspension and everything. It'd be easier to have to show a comparison. No. I don't think it can. It might be able to. I don't remember. So 4800. Show you real fast. Uh-oh, and now the mod's jacked up. That's kind of dumb. Got really mad when I did that. Why? Yeah, it breaks it. But anyways, 4800 runs just a single coilover, and then they'll run a 37-inch tire, which is what's on this one right now. But I didn't like that with me taking that shit off of there. But 4400 Unlimited would be something like this. This is 4400. This is the big dogs. These are the guys that have the cool stuff. It's got 40-inch tires, IFS in the front, solid axle in the rear. Just, you know, just whatever you want. They have solid axle 4400s as well. But yeah. Like this one here. This is a 4400 Unlimited class, but it's solid axle front rear. But it's still got 40-inch tire, bypass in the front, coilovers in the rear. Yeah, I had an axial bomber for a little while and I sold it because I bought it, ran it one time, and that was just to make sure it moves, and then I sold it because I never used it. But yeah. this is also considered 4400. There's a company out there called Laser Nut Fabrication. They have an independent rear suspension, independent front suspension car, and it's a monster. And this one, for our racing series on Reckless Racing, this is made by SRC, which is Spider Rat Customs, and they're on Patreon and Instagram. And this is an absolute beast of a car. This thing is so much fun. But it's got independent front and independent rear portal hubs. I mean, it's just, this thing is really nice. I have a new skin for this one. I didn't load the new skins in the single player yet, so my skins are still broken. I need to reload the skin file into single player so I can practice with this truck. But this thing is really awesome. So this car is custom. This one is beam only, as well as the where is it at? This one here. This is BeamNG custom as well. This is rough country crawling. This is the RCC Unlimited car. So this is all custom. This is completely custom for BeamNG only. Tom put this together for King of the Hammers 2024 when they first partnered with Ultra 4 USA to have the sim rigs out at King of the Hammers. And yeah, I mean, this truck's cool. I like it, but I don't run it personally. It's not something I will race with, but it's something I'll play with every once in a while. I do enjoy it. But yeah, there's a couple. Oh, and then we have, this is my favorite. I don't race it, I race the Pro Bug, but this is my favorite out of all the Ultra 4 cars, just because I'm a huge fan of Shannon Campbell. I've always really liked his stuff. So now we have Shannon Campbell's car in BeamNG.drive. This is a really cool car. You ever run the D-Series Ultra 4 truck or have any mods for it or anything? I've got some stuff for the D-Series. Let's see what's that. I say some. I have a ton of stuff for the D-Series. Some of this stuff is for RLS career. But yeah, I've got some of Nix's stuff. Then I've got some of this stuff is RLS career, of course. I got a pre-runner set up from Tom. This is a really nice pre-runner mod from Tom on Rough Country Crawling. This thing is sick. And it also comes with a long travel leaf spring crawler. Whoa, that's a cool trailer. Whoa, that's even, what? These things are sick. Oh, that's awesome. That's all part of RLS career. Those are really cool. I'm gonna have to mess with those one day. But there's this CJD Baja special, and then, of course, where's it at? there's a D15 trophy truck, Goliath trail runner. Like, there's a lot of stuff from RLS career that I have on here. I did not know Mio made a custom or a pro drag truck configuration. I'll have to check that out later. That is really awesome. But they have the trophy truck and all that stuff, and I don't really mess with those. They have the D15 Rock Racer. It's a piece of crap. It's not worth it. Like, to play around with, it's fun, but to actually use it in a true racing environment, it's not worth it. It's just not strong enough to withstand what we do. I'm definitely gonna have to play with some of these later though. These are really cool. Then I've got a custom Jeep. This is part of Tom's Hopper Reimagined, but I just took it and I put the racing cage on it, and then I just put 40-inch tires and turned it into a trail rig. And then it's got the Sedona Sano beadlock wheels with 40-inch Toyo Open Country MTs, and it's an awesome truck. I love driving this Jeep around on different trails and stuff. It's a really cool Jeep to drive around. So I have oh yeah, I've got which one did I make? I don't know if I've made any configurations with these. I thought I did. I got a bunch of them on this. These were all part of a video I did. I did a suspension challenge on the 2025 King of the Hammers map, and I did this one's 3-link in the front, leaf in the rear, and then 3-link all the way around, and then IFS in the front, leaf in the rear, and then leaf sprung, and then a leaf sprung Ranger. This is like leaf springs all the way around. And I can't remember which one, like, because I scored all this stuff out of 10, like how did it do in the rocks, how did it do in the desert, how did it do in the short course, how did it do as far as damage, like body damage and stuff. And if I remember right, I think it was the IFS one that won. But yeah, that was a really fun stream to do. That was a blast. I don't know if it got very many views, but I had fun doing it nonetheless. So it's just something I kind of threw together. I was like, oh, we'll do this today. It actually did really good. In fact, I can pull it up on my YouTube post because I posted the results to that stream. Let's see. It's going to be in here ways, but I did post the results to that stream. I know for a fact that I did. It's a ways down in here. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, it was, so the IFS and Leaf Spring Ford Ranger came in first, and then the Ford Ranger with all the leaf springs, with leaf spring all the way around, came in second. And then the 3-link Ford Ranger came in third, and then the 3-link in the front and leaf spring in the rear came in last. It did the worst. But yeah, that was a really fun stream to do. In fact, I think it's still Should still be up. Somewhere in here at least. Yeah, it's right here. It's at 56 views. I mean, I didn't do incredibly well, but it's pretty good. I mean, for being a super small channel that I am, at least someone watched it. But yeah, it was fun. But yeah, the leaf spring chart came in second. I think I have some stuff on this one too. I just made the custom K5. I've not done a cheap truck challenge. I thought about doing that one day. I just don't know what map I would do it on. I guess I can just do it on Johnson Valley. This is that pre-runner mod from Tom. Pretty cool mod. It's got twin traction beam in the, or no, it's not twin traction beam. That's I can't remember what they call that, but it's crazy ass setup. Because twin traction beam has a differential in it. I used to have a bunch of stuff for the Roamer, but I lost it all. I had bandit stuff. What are the disadvantages of scissors versus normal? I think mainly it's just like excessive tire wear. Realistically, the scissors actually perform a lot better in the desert compared to certain setups. I mean, obviously, if you build a really good IFS setup, it's gonna dominate scissors any day. But yeah, if you build a scissor setup just right, it'll dominate anything you put it up against. It's just depends on how you build it, because there is a certain geometry to it. It's not just something you can just throw together. But yeah, I mean, they all have their advantages, you know. It's just like the Ultra 4 stuff. Solid axle tends to dominate in the rocks, and independent suspension tends to dominate in the desert. It's just whatever your preference is, and whatever you decide to run, you know, it just goes with, you know, normal everyday life. With every positive, you're gonna have a negative. You can't have the best of both worlds. Just depends on what you decide you want to do. You know, if you go independent, you might struggle in the rocks. If you go solid axle, you're gonna struggle in the desert. But you're gonna, you know, you'll be efficient in the rocks with a solid axle, but in the desert, you're gonna have a lot of problems because you can't go as fast. Whereas independent suspension, you're gonna have a little bit of issues in the rocks, but when you get in the desert, you can haul ass and you can just go wide open the whole time. So there's always gonna be a negative for every positive. It's never gonna be, you know, it's never gonna be a win-win situation. Like, that's why if you look at Ultra 4, that's why Ultra 4 is such a competitive sport, because there's just so many different fabrication designs and ideas that have been thrown out there to compete in the sport that it really adds a variety of what people are capable of doing. Is the best trophy truck still the Mason truck? I always thought the Mason truck is disproportionate in the game. So the Mason is not even made anymore. Like, Tom completely, that mod's gone. You can't even get your hands on that mod anymore. The best trophy truck as of right now, I wish I had all my trophy trucks in here. Ever since 0.35 updated, I had to clear my cache, so I lost all my shit. I'll have to re-download all my trophy trucks, but to me, the best trophy truck I've had the most experience with is the Kinetic from BDR. That's a solid trophy truck. And then the Armada is a solid trophy truck. The Attila from Rough Country Crawling, that's a top-notch trophy truck. Yeah, there's a lot of trophy trucks that are badass. The one from 1X Modding, which is gosh dang, I don't remember what it's called now. It's a Ford F-150, but it's a top-notch trophy truck. It runs really great. Just kind of it just goes back to, it's a preference. Whatever you want to run, like whatever you like, that's going to be something that you're going to run. And it just comes down to if you're going to be able to tune it right to get it to do the things you want it to do. Like, I'm more of a Class 1 buggy guy, so I like the Gemco Ickler. It's the Ickler Gemco Class 1 buggy. I love that thing. Anytime I take part in a desert race for the reckless racing stuff, I use the Ickler Gemco. Unless we're doing a this versus that, I use the Ickler Gemco, and that has always been my favorite desert truck. And it performs so well. It's amazing. And then you also have the Gemco Hammerhead that BDR made, and that's a really good truck. And then you also have the let's see, I'll have to remember what it is. Come on. Load up Patreon. There you go. So Rough Country Crawling has the Ickler Gemco, and then he also has the Attila, the D200. The D200 is a really good pre-runner / race truck. It's a solid truck to run. It's fun as hell to drive. And then the where is it? I know he has it in here somewhere. There's the Ickler. There it is. The Brenthal. The Brenthal Class 1 buggy, that's a really cool Class 1 buggy. That one's kind of a handful to really learn how to drive, but once you learn it and you understand how it functions and you can get a good tune on it, it's a solid truck. But yeah, I mean, it's just all comes down to what you want and what you prefer. Like what, you know, just kind of comes down to style and what you feel comfortable in. This is a good Ultra 4 truck too. This is the one Isaac made. I should have loaded the other config. I'm gonna reload the other one. Should be this one. So this truck here, the Bronco, this is a slightly modified version of it that BDR Isaac made. But this chassis is essentially the very first truck to ever win the King of the Hammers. And it's a famous truck. It's a very famous Ultra 4 car. But this thing it's awesome. I mean, it's got a good look to it. It's a sweet truck. I've driven it before in an Ultra 4 race. I liked it. It was fun. Would I drive it in a series? Probably not. But to do it in one race, it's pretty fun. That's a cool truck though. But yeah. So, well, it was real good having a conversation with you there, Noah. I am gonna get off of here and go do some other stuff. Probably mess with some of those D-Series mods. Maybe come up with some more ideas for some other content. So, hope you enjoyed watching. And as always, thanks for the support. Really appreciate it, guys. And yeah, hope you guys have a good Easter. And we'll see you guys in the next stream. Have a good weekend.